Hey, my name is Brian, and I think that winning the Powerball might be the worst thing that could ever happen to you. Let me explain. History actually proves it. Statistically, if you won $1.4 billion tonight, you'd probably be broke in 5 years because Powerball doesn't just make people rich, it just exposes how broke they are inside. Think about that. And that's the ugly truth nobody wants to hear. Why does it seem like most people who win the lottery are doomed to not be able to keep that money for long? Let's unpack this so you're prepared. They say money changes everything, and it definitely changes a lot of things, but another thing people say but don't really dive deep into is that it also reveals who you already are. That's why 70% of lottery winners end up broke within just a few years. Not because money is cursed, but because they never became the person who could actually hold on to it. And that's what this video is about. Not luck, not numbers, but identity. The shift between being someone who wishes for freedom and being someone who creates it. People fantasize about winning the Powerball jackpot because it feels like instant escape. No more stress, no more fear, no more hassle. But let me ask you, what would you actually do with that kind of money? Have you ever thought it through? Because studies show most winners spiral. Addictions worsen, relationships collapse, and within 5 years the dream has turned into a nightmare. Why? Because money amplifies who you already are. If you're lost, it magnifies your confusion. If you're insecure, it magnifies your fear. And if you're disciplined, clear, and purpose-driven, then it magnifies your impact. Here's the shift I want you to take from this video. Stop obsessing over winning the lottery and start becoming the type of person who could thrive if you did. Because once you do that, you don't need the Powerball. You've already won. That being said, we all want to win the Powerball, right? Don't get me wrong. But I just want to give you the right advice that will allow you to handle that type of victory with skill, rather than floundering miserably and having tons of issues. Pause for a second and really feel that. Imagine having billions dropped in your lap. Could you hold it? Could you grow it? Could you carry the weight without it crushing you? Let me tell you why most can't. It's not bad luck, it's the mindset and the programming they have. Think about this. The odds of winning Powerball are 1 in 292 million. But the odds of you self-sabotaging when you finally get what you wanted? Close to 1 in 1. That's the tragedy. You don't need better odds. You need a stronger identity. Here's a story for you. In 2002, Jack Whitaker won $315 million, one of the largest jackpots at the time. Within a few years his life had collapsed. Arrests, lawsuits, family tragedies. He said himself, "I wish I'd torn the ticket up. The money didn't destroy him, it exposed the cracks that were already there." He didn't have the people skills, the network, the money savvy, he didn't have the mentorship, the self-control, and the money that should have made him one of the happiest people in the world actually became his worst enemy. Now, compare that to Warren Buffett. He could lose billions tomorrow and still rebuild. Why? Because his wealth isn't a lottery ticket. It's a reflection of his mindset, his habits, his patience, his clarity. That's the real jackpot. So here's the tactical breakdown. I'm going to give you 3 shifts that matter more than any winning numbers. First, build financial literacy before you build financial fantasy. If you don't understand money, how to invest, how to manage risk, how to think long-term, what's the difference between an accountant and a tax attorney, how much money to have in foreign markets? If you don't know stuff like that, it doesn't matter how much money drops into your lap. You'll burn through it or make serious money mistakes. Books like The Millionaire Next Door prove that wealth is boring. It's built on quiet discipline, not flashy spending. Second, master your inner state. Because if you can't manage yourself, no amount of money will ever manage your chaos. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, said it bluntly, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." That's not just philosophy, it's psychology and it's also neuroscience. It's why billionaires can feel empty while monks with nothing feel untouchable. I can attest to that. My time living at the monastery when I was young proved to me that the greatest wealth lies in knowing oneself to be something greater than the accumulation of all material desires. Having money on top of that is just a bonus. If your default mode is craving approval, craving status, craving escape, then money just multiplies the craving. It feeds the addiction without ever curing the hunger. That's why so many lottery winners spiral into drugs, gambling, or reckless spending. They think the jackpot ends the hunger, but it just gives them a bigger spoon to dig the hole with. But if you learn to master your inner state, if you train yourself to live in gratitude, clarity, discipline, then you're free no matter what's in your bank account. Discipline isn't punishment, it's the highest form of freedom. Because when you can say no to your impulses, when you can delay gratification, when you can choose long-term purpose over short-term dopamine, you've won a game that no jackpot can ever buy. Think about it, what's more valuable, $1 billion and an anxious, restless, addicted mind, or a stable, grounded self that can enjoy life with or without wealth? And here's the paradox. When you stop needing more, you finally become the kind of person who can handle more. That's the inner lottery. That's the prize no ticket will ever give you. Discipline isn't punishment, it's freedom. If you can control yourself, you're richer than any Powerball winner who can't. Third, anchor everything to purpose. Viktor Frankl wrote in Man's Search for Meaning that humans can endure almost anything if they have a reason strong enough. Without it, they collapse. Money without meaning is poison. Money with purpose is power. So, let me ask you, what's the reason for the desire? If $1.4 billion landed in your account tomorrow, what would you build? Who would you become? And here's the harder question. Why aren't you already moving toward that now, without the jackpot? Because this isn't about doing more. It's about becoming someone new, someone unshakable, someone who doesn't wait for lucky numbers to validate their worth. Imagine if you treated your growth like a lottery ticket. You'd never skip buying it. You'd invest every single day. You'd stack the odds in your favor through habits, mindset, clarity, and execution. That's the jackpot. That's the real wealth. Now let's get brutally honest. The Powerball jackpot is seductive because it's easy. No work, just luck. But that's why most people chase it. And that's why most people stay stuck. Because honestly, they want freedom without responsibility. They want abundance without becoming abundant. But life doesn't work that way. The universe isn't handing out shortcuts. Every book, every mentor, every successful entrepreneur says the same thing. You don't rise to the level of your bank account, you fall to the level of your identity. So here's the switch I had in mind. Stop playing the lottery with your life. Stop waiting for something external to rescue you. Build the kind of mindset, the kind of habits, the kind of purpose that makes you inevitable. Because once you do that, you've already beaten the odds. So if you want to take away here, it is. Start acting today as if you already won. Not by spending like a billionaire, but by thinking like one. Practice delayed gratification. Set a purpose so strong you'd still chase it if you had nothing. And so clear you'd still chase it if you had everything. Because the truth is most people would lose $1 billion. But if you build the right mindset, the right purpose, the right identity, even with nothing, you're unstoppable. And that's the paradox inherent in the discussion. The less you need the lottery, the more likely you are to live a life most people only dream about. So here's my challenge. Next time you see Powerball trending, don't just fantasize. Ask yourself, am I living like the kind of person who could handle that level of wealth? If the answer is no, then good. You've got work to do. If the answer is yes, then you already won. Thanks for watching my videos and I'll see you in the next one.